ठीक है. Thank you so much, Seema, for taking out your time. And honestly, I don't think we discussed this, but I've been seeing your content before I was doing content, like maybe 3-4 years, and I've wanted to do this for a long time. You did one with Sid Warrior some time ago. Sid's a friend. I asked Sid to connect, and I'm so glad it's happening now.
Thank you.
I also think the research that you do is very powerful. I've gotten a lot of flack for saying this in the past, but I think we can no longer assume that sex should remain in the taboo shadows that it does. Right? I studied evolutionary psychology at university, and I found out that most of what humans have come to be, the pressure's always been sexual. It stopped being natural past a point, and then it was always this sort of interaction between the male-female dynamic that led to what sort of humans have come to be. But also on an individual level, I deal with men. My audience is largely men. And the amount of strength and corruption that is possible because of sex is this very unsaid sort of dynamic that we don't discuss in society. Right? So what I want to do today is, for this 18 to 35 male audience that I have, I want to cover end-to-end their concerns with sex.
Okay.
Is that a fair proposal?
It's a great proposal. Kitna ho payega, I don't know.
We'll find out.
Let's try.
Right. Otherwise, there's always a part 2 many years from now or many months from now. So let me start. I divided the sort of concerns in 3 parts. I said the first part is, let's say, the seduction or the courtship period.
Okay.
The second one is what men typically call performance, which is a very interesting word to use for it. And then maintenance. So let me start you off with the courtship part. My question is, what do you say to men that are afraid, sometimes even too afraid, to be around or talk to women? Like, what is your view on that?
So I think, again, like you said, कि ये इतना taboo subject हमने बना रखा है that we totally believe कि ये होना ही नहीं चाहिए. When kids are younger, I grew up like that. I'm an only child. I went to boarding school when I was 5 years old, to Wellams, all-girls school.
Yep.
You didn't come across any men. You didn't come across any guys. You don't learn how to understand, how to talk to men.
Mm-hmm.
I was so nervous. I mean, and forget that. When you don't know कि क्या कर रहे हो, like you don't know कि वो क्या सोच रहा है, तुम क्या सोच रहे हो, तुम किसी को देख रहे हो, automatically you're feeling excited. Should I get nervous? Should I be thinking of something else? It's so natural. We are not taught how to deal with those emotions. पहले तो nobody ever says कि ये emotions होनी भी चाहिए. If any kid ever says कि मुझे excitement होगी, मुझे ये पसंद है, the first thing is they're shut down. चुप करो, ऐसा नहीं होता.
Or ridiculed.
Or ridiculed.
Right.
So you don't ever learn. You know, conversation is a skill. Very few people are born knowing कि कैसे converse करना चाहिए. Conversing with the opposite sex at a time जब अपने को इतनी nervousness हो रही है, वो उसके लिए और भी ज़्यादा skill चाहिए होती है.
Right.
With my children, I made sure, एक तो I have 2 boys and a girl, so there was always this possibility that there were going to be the boys' friends, the girls' friends together. बात होती है एक दूसरे के साथ. I made sure that they go to co-ed schools, so they learn how to converse with each other. पहली चीज़ इधर से शुरू होती है. When you can't converse, when you're feeling awkward, where are you going to get to the next point?
At all.
Telling somebody.
Right.
कि I like you, or letting them understand. अच्छा, दूसरी बात, where is our role models of knowing how to do this?
Salman Khan.
Salman Khan.
right.
All the bloody Bollywood films जहाँ पर लड़के इकट्ठे होकर ही कर रहे हैं, फिर किसी लड़की को देख रहे हैं, फिर उसको टीज कर रहे हैं, फिर उसके पीछे उसको दुखी कर रहे हैं.
Right.
I mean, recently I had a message from some guy who said कि एक लड़की है, मैंने उसको बोला I like her, पर उसने मुझे बता दिया है कि she doesn't like me, पर मैं कोशिश नहीं छोड़ रहा मैम, क्योंकि मुझे मालूम है कि somehow मैं उसको कन्विंस कर लूँगा. बस कन्विक्शन की ज़रूरत है. He believes it.
Right.
मैंने अभी तक रिस्पॉन्ड नहीं किया because I need to be able to understand कि ये फ्रेम कैसे करूँ आंसर.
Right.
कि no, अगर वो तुम्हें पसंद नहीं करती, and yes, I want to also say कि कभी कभी ऐसे हो भी सकता है कि आप 10 बारी ट्राई करो, she might change her mind for a little while.
Right.
but that instinctive reaction stays the same. And I'm saying might.
Right.
Most of the time, you're just going to get on her nerves. So I don't think that it is the fault of the guys or the fault of the women. Ladkiyan generally, as women, we converse more. We talk more. We share emotions. We'll talk about galat sahi jo bhi, but we talk about, we'll say, and I like this guy, and फिर उसने मुझे ऐसे कहा, फिर उसने ये message लिखा, एक full stop लगाया, उस full stop का क्या मतलब? Honestly, my daughter is 26.
Right.
I still listen to her and her friends talk.
Right.
She's told me that full stop is not acceptable. It is rude. So when she sends me a message, I hate it because I get 10 messages to give me one thing that she needs to tell me. And I'll tell her, why can't you write? She says, nahi, full stop nahi lagha sakte.
No punctuation.
No punctuation.
Right.
Thumbs up is bad.
Yeah. You don't care enough.
Yeah. Thumbs up is like, yeah, okay, fine. It's like, all right. So, I mean, what I'm trying to say is that, yes, women have rules, which may sound a little bit ridiculous, but they have conversations. They learn to understand कि emotionally उनके दिमाग में और किसी के दिमाग में क्या चल रहा है and how to approach it. Guys don't. When was the last time, Prakhar, you tell me, you got together with guy friends and you discussed emotions?
Emotions. I fortunately happens to be soonish. Like it was not too long ago, but I definitely get your point. Right? Like I was talking to a friend about speaking to you, right? And I was like, bro, you know what? Even though I am such a champion for talking about sex openly, I don't think as guys we ever talk about it. Right? Like I think when we were 21, 22, there was still this sort of excitement where sex was new kinda and we were like, oh my God, this is happening and that is happening. But the conversation would end at, hua ki nahi hua? Like, did you get to the bedroom or not? But never really like the details of it. And I'm not even saying that that is the best way to go about it. Women do. Women really talk about it. Women really enjoy talking about it. And it's very strange to men because it's not part of their lingua franca at all. Right? But it's so cool that you don't see this as very often women don't recognize the sort of shame that is built into men when it comes to this stuff. I've been that guy. I actually fainted in front of the girl I had my first crush on. I was acting up. I was doing a audition for a school play. I'm doing the audition. I see her sitting in the audience. I look at her. I start hyperventilating and I faint. And the director thinks that I'm acting. So nobody comes and picks me up. And it's one of those deeper points of shame that sort of helped me evolve past that point, learn how to talk to girls. That became a central sort of feature in my development after that point. But it has to be met with this kind of empathy because otherwise guys have these notions like persistence is key. When it's not. If you try 10 times and it works the last time, even if it does work, the dynamic is so unhealthy from the very get because you've been trying so hard and she's giving you 10% of her bandwidth. It's going to be very difficult to balance it in the long run. That's what I feel.
And, the other thing is, okay, now this happened to me. Think about this, Prakhar. I'm now 62. मैं ये बात कर रही हूँ maybe 8 years ago. This guy who is older than me and very bright at the head of his job, one of the most powerful corporates from this country. He's having this conversation with me. And I was saying, something about, oh, so-and-so is so sweet, like they were trying to do something with me. I said, so sweet. And he said, never use that word sweet for me. So I said, bhai kyun? That's the worst insult. I said, why? Not to a woman. If I, as a woman, or if any woman thinks that a guy is sweet, it's a nice thing. No. Okay, so he argued with me, basically. To say that no, a woman calling a guy sweet is not a compliment. It is an insult. And I finally shut him up because I'm also not a young girl. I also have vocabulary. When I was younger, I did not have the vocabulary. So I finally shut him up and I said, Dekh, ek baat hai. I am the woman over here. You don't get to tell me what I like.
Right.
I get to tell you what I like.
What I mean. Right. Yeah, right.
What I like or what I mean. And I get to choose. You don't get to tell me what is my idea of what I will like in a man.
Right.
And I think that's the basic problem. the main voice has been till now when it comes to sex, because like you said, taboo subject hai, is pe koi baat nahi karta. Hence, the only voice around it is the male voice. Because they're guys, at least they can talk about it. And they have set the rules for what is acceptable. So even बेचारे जो लड़के सीखने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं वो लड़कियों से नहीं, वो औरतों से नहीं सीख रहे. पहले ज़माने में young men would be sent to courtesans to learn के कैसे बात करते हैं, कैसे पेश आते हैं, कैसे appreciate करते हैं. Today they're learning from other guys who know equally little.
Yeah.
Who've managed to get lucky, maybe. Some who've just got lucky in their head. But,
Right. The numbers are not that impressive.
But they think they know it all.
Right.
They're telling these guys, अरे तुम्हारी फिजिक ऐसे, तुम्हें तो कोई लड़की पसंद नहीं करेगी. तुम्हें कैसे मालूम? अरे तुम ये बोरिंग बातें करोगे यार, तुम्हें कोई लड़की. एक बात बताऊं, कामसूत्र में लिखा है, because you know this is now a courtly society. Kamsutra is written in a time when it's the men are at court. Yeah, so the wealthy men of leisure at court. And it says that for a woman, if she's picking, they're all powerful. They're all wealthy men. They're all ministers' sons or whatever it is. So what distinguishes you from the other rich guy? It says that a man who is well-versed in the arts, who can have a conversation of things that are beyond industry,
Yep.
that is the most desirable man of all.
So verbal skill.
Verbal skills, a little knowledge of outside world, the arts and so on, maybe reading, somebody who likes to read. Honestly, most women prefer a guy who is sweet, who's not too pushy. I'm saying most, I'm not saying all.
Right.
And also it comes with a bit of maturity. I'll come to that. But sweet, not too pushy. Somebody who can actually talk to you. Rather than somebody who is going to come in and be this macho guy. A lot of girls, I'm saying girls rather than young women, actually even when they get slightly older, have this fallacy in their head. I want the bad boy. 2 दिन बैड बॉय के साथ गुजार के सबके दिमाग सीधे हो जाते हैं. Because you know, you think you want this guy जो अरे कोई मेरी तरफ देखेगा तो ये लड़का आके उसके साथ लड़ेगा, उसको मुक्का मारेगा. If you've ever stood there, watched a fight in front of you, it scares the shit out of you. Okay? You don't want to be in that. You don't.
Right.
I am generalizing. Yes. I'm talking about 90% of women. Yes, there's always exceptions. If you have been with a guy who is the bad boy, essentially bad boy is somebody who's focused on themselves. After 2 days of being with them, you're like, okay, I also need a little bit of attention. Just what you're doing is not the best thing.
Right.
After 2 days of being with somebody, you know, there's this whole attitude, Salman Khan, you know, driving crazily, going over flyovers, landing on the road below. In reality, that's not what happens to a car when it goes over a flyover. Okay? You don't want to be in that car that is driving so rashly.
Right.
It is unsafe. It's horrible. Your heart is in your mouth.
Right.
You don't want that.
It's almost like saying that all I ever want to do is be on a roller coaster. And that's probably a good 30-second to 90-second ride.
Thrill, yeah.
But then past that point, you probably also want to be on the merry-go-round. You probably also I completely agree. The bad boy is an exciting phenomenon. And that probably sparks some attraction. But that's not the end-all, be-all. And as I've grown up, maybe this is what you meant by maturity. 6 years ago, 7 years ago, I'm now 28. I could be bought into the idea of being a bad boy, right? But the more I've grown up, I've realized the tricky part is not so much sparking her attraction, but it's actually maintaining it. That's where the real challenge begins. Yeah. And so many men get confused about, oh, I want these numbers because, you know, that's proxy for being macho or masculine and so on. Brother, the number part, in my experience, is not that difficult. What is really difficult is keeping one person happy, excited, passionate, indulged, all these things for a lifetime. And I feel like if you're really looking for a challenge, that's the challenge that would grace any man's sort of life in some way.
You know, recently I did a talk on pleasure. And I was planning to do a reel on this at some point, and I will. And at the end of it, this young man came to me. He was really young, and he'd been married not very long. So young and fairly newly married. And he came to me and he said, "So, are you still married?" And I said, "Yeah." He said, "No, I mean still." Yeah. I'd been talking on pleasure.
Right.
"You have children?" I said, "Yeah, 3. So then he stopped and he said, "Okay, I'm sorry. I just assumed that you've got divorced and then gone out and experimented with all this pleasure." And this goes to your point, K, this idea that pleasure cannot exist in a marriage, according to him. And I'm thinking, how scary is this? He's very newly married and he's young. And uske dimag mein already there is this thing कि this kind of experimenting or exploring doesn't happen with your long-term partner, doesn't happen in a marriage. It's not something that you can do unless you are just randomly sleeping around. And I just want to also say, because nobody else is going to tell the guys this, so I want to say this to your
Right,
audience, कि actually that is not going to give you the pleasure that we're talking about.
Right.
Pleasure is it's a function of the mind. Okay? What you experience is automatic arousal. When you see somebody new and you're totally excited by that body, because that's all you're looking at, that body, that face, and you want to pretty much just get with that person. It's going to be very quick. Your arousal is like this, you're done like this. All the things that you thought were great, you haven't even enjoyed any of that because you're done and dusted. Pleasure can only come when you stand back, take a couple of deep breaths, have a conversation, start to think कि अब ये आगे कैसे बढ़ाएं. So, this, एक तो I guess हमारी vocabulary change करनी पड़ेगी, dictionary change करनी पड़ेगी. What does pleasure mean to most people? It's what they watch in porn.
Right.
What do they watch in porn? What's the money shot in porn? When a guy comes and his semen spurts everywhere like a fountain.
Right.
अब कौन सी दुनिया में ये reality में होता है?
Right.
नहीं होता.
हाँ.
Also, कितने partners को ये pleasurable लगता है? नहीं लगता. It's not what everybody kind of says, this is what I want to see. The other money shot is the woman bent over and the guy ramming into her.
Right.
No woman likes it. That is not any woman's idea of pleasure,
Right.
of being rammed into. So yeah, just saying that अगर आपके लॉकर रूम में बाकी के मेल दोस्त आपको बता रहे हैं कि ब्रो ऐसे तो नहीं चलेगा, तुझे ये करना पड़ेगा, डोंट. आपकी अगर कोई फीमेल फ्रेंड्स हैं या जाके किताब पढ़िए.
Right.
Learn that that is not your way forward with a woman.
Fair. Completely understood. As a matter of fact, I want to ask you about this long-term partner and how to keep the excitement and sort of passion part going. And I'll come to it in just a little bit.
Sure.
But I want to ask you, so we were talking about how verbal skills and sort of, it's a very interesting idea ki for a woman who's fairly attractive and well-positioned, all her suitors are roughly the same when it comes to social status. Because men very often consume ki bhai mere ko to social status pakadna padega, I will have to become powerful, I will have to get a good body and so on. Well, all guys around her roughly will have that. So, given that is the situation, what is it that truly attracts a woman to a man? Like, what is the secret sauce?
So every single person is different.
Sure.
I guess the secret sauce is what makes you feel truly that you are, when you feel good. Okay, that's a very generic term. And for everybody, that is slightly different. So let's say, my daughter gets really fed up with me because I use her as an example all the time.
Poor girl.
Poor thing. I use her. But I was actually saying to her, like with her boyfriend, I was saying to her, what is it that you like about him best? And she said, Mom, he is so kind. I feel so cherished. I feel loved. I feel his kindness. Now, the rest of it, let's be real. I mean, there are certain prerequisites. I had one guy write to me. Some guys really, पता नहीं शायद सोचते नहीं हैं, शायद दिमाग थोड़ा कम है. I don't know. Some guy wrote to me and women only want guys with big salaries. No, so this was his sentence. No model ever effed a homeless drug addict. So I don't know. Do guys generally go around being with women who are homeless drug addicts? I'm not sure. You know what I mean?
Think of someone. I can think of someone. I'm not even lying. I can think of someone. But
Okay.
yeah, guys are less choosy. That is true.
The guys may be, but I'm still saying that isn't really a like that's not the litmus test.
Yeah, of course.
To say कि अरे तुम अगर if you don't care about money, go be with a homeless drug addict. अरे थोड़ा सा तो दिमाग करो. Okay. And yes, I think that everybody, men, women, both, everybody has their idea of a basic background. Yes, you want somebody educated. Yes, you want somebody who is going to be hygienic and clean. Yes, you want somebody well spoken. ऐसा तो नहीं कि कोई भी चलेगा. You know what I mean?
Of course.
But when you go past all that, what are those things that are going to make you stay with somebody for the long term? And that is different for everybody. And I want to say this specially क्योंकि जितने लोग, when they are younger particularly, men and women again both, हम लोग एक mold में fit करने की कोशिश करते हैं अपने आप को. I want to be like that because I want to be in that lineup. If everybody's interest in somebody else is different, that means there is someone for everyone.
Fairly speaking, yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
mathematically probable, yes.
So there are people who genuinely like pot-bellied men. It's the pot belly that turns them on. There are people who genuinely like lanky people. There are women who genuinely like somebody of a certain lesser height. It's very, very there. Eventually, however, it comes down to how you treat that person. I had a driver on my way to Taj Rishikesh this time. And he was so sweet. He was saying something about, he was generally telling me कि मेरी वो नौकरी चली गई. बड़ी दुखी कहानी थी बेचारे की. And then he said, पर एक चीज़ भगवान ने मेरे साथ बहुत अच्छी की है. बहुत अच्छी बीवी दी है मुझे. And I thought, that was just so cute. He says, मैम बहुत अच्छी है, बहुत प्यारी है. कभी मुझसे लड़ती नहीं है. कभी उसको कुछ अच्छा ना लगे मुझे प्यार से समझाती है. मुझे अगर कुछ अच्छा ना लगे मैं उसे प्यार से समझाता हूँ. कभी हमारी लड़ाई नहीं होती. मैं कहता हूँ कि दुनिया का कुछ और मुझे भगवान ने नहीं दिया. ये मुझे मिल गई कि हम एक दूसरे को प्यार बहुत करते हैं. And you know, I literally just thought about it. I was going to do an event for YPO. Some of the wealthiest people of Uttarakhand and UP. And I was just thinking, I wish that I could just take that one thing from this man and offer it to
Everybody in the room.
everybody in the room.
You were so spot on. In fact, पता है जो ये argument है जो लड़के करते हैं ना about being rich and so on and so, there is a lot of weeds in that argument because at the end of the day, तू कुछ भी कर ले, you want only one woman ना. And like, this is fairly true even though there might be statistical truisms कि taller guys probably statistically are much more attractive, but you only have to be tall enough for one person ना. तो इतना stress क्यों कर रहे हैं हम? If you just increase your base rate, which is if you just talk to enough women, if you're just around enough women, you'll find people that you are interested in that are interested in you. So there's a lot of weeds when it comes to that kind of stuff. And men often tie themselves up with this sort of, people don't necessarily want a partner, they just want to feel attractive. That's what I felt is the truth. Right? They just want to feel like if I wanted her, then I could get her, right? Like, or vice versa, if I wanted him, I could get him. And that's such a strange psychological desire.
And I also want to actually at this point say, कि again, you know, this whole idea बात नहीं करनी. एक चीज़ हमें seriously, पहली चीज़, अगर हम कभी भी schools में sex ed सिखाएं, पहली चीज़ जो सीखनी चाहिए, is कि आपको rejections बहुत मिलेंगे. Girl, boy, whatever gender you are, whoever you like the first 20 times, that person will not like you back.
100%.
You will be rejected.
And you need to learn how to laugh at that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you think you're the only one going through it, the ego that comes, the hassle, the angst that comes in. I mean, heartbreak is always going to be there, let's be real. But if you normalize it, you say, अच्छा ये तो सबके साथ होता है. सबके साथ होता है. प्रियंका चोपड़ा के साथ भी हुआ होगा, ज़रूर. You are going to say, okay, it is normal
Right.
at some point. So I think that this idea कि oh, I liked her, फिर अब मैं गालियाँ देना शुरू कर दूंगा क्योंकि उसने ना कह दी.
Because I have to deal with myself still liking her while she's rejected me. तो अब मेरे को hate तो करना ही पड़ेगा, वरना मैं कैसे cognitive dissonance इतना strong है.
बिल्कुल.
Right.
And if you just thought, like, imagine at that same time कोई और लड़की तुम्हें like कर रही है, तुम उसको नहीं like कर रहे हो, तुम और किसी को like कर रहे हो, you are also rejecting her.
Right.
So it is going to happen.
Right.
So I think rejection is the first thing that we should learn to teach and deal with.
Very strong statement. As a matter of fact, I remember the minute I got okay with it. Because, like I said, right, it was a fairly shameful part of being in school was not being able to talk to girls, then fainting, this, that. So I took it very seriously in my young adulthood. And I remember the day I got rejected, I went to a girl, I said hi, she was like, sorry, not interested. And I could laugh at it. And the freedom that follows from there, you're like, ठीक है यार, उसको पता भी क्या है मेरे बारे में. Right? Like, there's, and maybe she's not interested. There's 1,000 things that happen in people's lives. It's completely okay. Enough fish in the sea. Relax. Don't take it so personally. Because guys get very personal.
Guys get very personal.
And guys getting personal is risky because guys also have the ability to be violent or, for that matter, scary in some context. And that produces a whole lot of mess in its own way. I get it. Is there any last few behavioral pointers you want to tell men that they should take care of in terms of trying to be attractive?
So, okay, again, going back to the Kama Sutra, because I think it's too underrated as
Agreed.
a book. Kama Sutra, there is a chapter on 64 kalas, the 64 skills. Now, most people think the 64 skills are 64 ways of having sex. They're not. Mm-hmm. The skills are everything from singing, dancing, music, metallurgy, woodwork, learning foreign languages, doing word puzzles, all sorts of things. And the idea is that the more, it's to develop your personality. Because the more interesting you are as a person, the more desirable you become.
Fair.
If you are really exciting, you're very good looking, you have everything else going for you, but तुम एक ही चीज़ पर सारा टाइम बात करोगे, तुम्हारी इतनी limited personality है, at some point, the other person is going to lose interest. You're not that universally attractive.
Right.
If you are able to increase your personality, your interests, you become a lot more attractive to the other person. So that's one thing.
Right.
The second thing, and I say this to everybody, every gender, don't focus constantly on, like, let's say you're going on a date, but even otherwise, your life is all focused on that one romantic candlelight dinner. Change your dating vocabulary to being an outdoor date.
110%.
Okay.
Walk through a park. Really.
Walk through a park.
Right.
Go to the riverside or wherever. Go to the middle of a meadow and paint something together.
100%.
Go hiking. Put that as part of your personality so that you automatically do that. Get together, play carom. I don't know. Do anything. Make that. It's so much more fun. You have more giggles. You have much more conversation than if you're just sitting across this.
100%. Like, movies are such a bad idea for a date. First date as a movie, what are you doing? You're not even talking. Before I was dating the girlfriend I have right now, and I was still in Delhi, I take my dates climbing. Because when you're doing all that physical exercise, there is automatically so much hormonal activity happening. There's so much more scope for sort of a connectedness.
Yeah.
Right.
And you drop all that the tension that you build around you, that I have to look like this, I have to seem like this. All that is gone. It just truly makes life a lot easier for a connection to happen.
Spot on.
And I think finally, just accept that for somebody to like you back, you have to have something that they need to like. And everybody's liking is different. Some people are turned on by six-packs and some people are turned on by pot bellies. It's not personal.
Right. Dad boards are in. Dad bods are really in.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. I mean, the biggest fashion in clothes last year in the UK was something called mom jeans.
Huh.
Huh.
Show me. Mom jeans?
Mom jeans are like, slightly high-waisted, slightly baggy, either say.
Right.
Mom jeans was the thing. They were so... You know what I mean? Like the third one.
The third one.
Huh.
Right. These are not like tight and sort of
No.
silhouette pastes at all. Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
So mom jeans was the thing.
Huh.
And they were exciting.
Right.
And I tell you, and finally, I think just if somebody who has a sense of humor. Now, I know this is not always easy to do, and everybody's idea of what's funny is
Very different.
But just a heads up, abuse is not funny. So getting abusive in your vocabulary is not funny. And making random jokes, I mean, as a guy, if you're talking to a woman, making random jokes about women generally is not amusing. So
Apart from
definitely
that.
definitely be funny.
You know, in the evolutionary psychology literature, when they discuss the origins of humor as to how did humans evolve to crack jokes, because jokes are very interesting. What is a joke, right? And so we used to study all of this, and it turns out it evolved to signal wit and intelligence. That then ultimately is attractive to women, and women select for it, and therefore, men tend to be funny in whatever way they tend to be funny.
And just because we are on the subject, can I just tell you one more thing before
Yes.
we move on from the Kama Sutra? The Kama Sutra says that before you start foreplay, most people, when they come together for a night of intimacy or a day of whatever, intimate time, most people today, what will they do? Acha, koi office se aaya, koi idhar se aaya. Acha ji, aaj hi karna. And you go kind of straight into it. Acha, now the foreplay has started. Your brain is still with that email you haven't sent, the deal that wasn't signed, that conversation that annoyed you, the coffee that was cold. The Kama Sutra says that before you even start foreplay, you sit together and you exchange funny or naughty or gossipy stories. Gossip and tash are one thing and comedy, you forget the world. That's one time.
So
Tash khelne se, have you noticed?
Yeah,
Or
yeah.
if you're gossiping, you forget time, you forget the universe.
Right.
We have from the 6th century, from the 5th century, we have Sanskrit books on these weird stories, which basically the idea was that you tell stories which makes the other person kind of go, gasp,
Really? Ha, 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 ha.
gasp, no, don't be silly, and then giggle together.
Right.
And it changes your head frame. It brings you from that space into this space.
Wow.
Humor is incredible. It's underrated as hell. It is incredible fun. And it's an incredible bonding agent for intimacy.
Right.
So,
Completely understood. And as a matter of fact, I play poker and it's true. Part of the reason I play is so that I don't have to think about work because suddenly I'm lost. But gossip is also, I'd never thought of that use case for gossip.
gossip is great.
Haan.
I mean, with your partner. And a lot of people are like, अच्छा partnership में, relationship में ऐसा होना चाहिए जहाँ पर वो deep चीज़ें discuss. Deep चीज़ें बाद की बात है. If you can discuss the silliest, smallest things together, that is where your relationship starts.
It's a better symptom than deep. क्योंकि मैं यार deep करने के लिए पूरी दुनिया पड़ी यार मैं इंटरनेट पे deep कर करके थक गया. Like मेरे को तो जाके घर जाके light बातें करनी है. I want to relax and like laugh over silly stuff.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Share that.
Right. Is there a difference between attraction and seduction?
I guess maybe in its basic description, the attraction is where you find yourself attracted to somebody else. Seduction is, in my mind, who you are. Seduction is a state of mind. It's not something that you put on. Yeah, I could do some really sexy number that you put on. You look really great for that one evening. Uske baad kya? Like, okay, you seduce them to that point. If you, as a man, are really, really good looking, I could spend 15 minutes looking at you. I could spend half an hour looking. Uske baad kya karoge tum?
True.
Seduction is not an event. It's a state of mind. It's how you feel about yourself.
That's so interesting. How should I feel about myself?
Think about it. How would you like to feel about yourself? Do you like yourself? Do you feel that inside you? I grew up in a time when yes, I grew up in the hippie era, so things were not as taboo. But the conversation around sex in India was still quite taboo.
It's a
It wasn't really
conservative country.
spoken about. So there are certain things that you stopped yourself also from thinking about yourself. We have little channels in our head that think about pleasure. Because we were taught this was a bad thing, you shut it down. The moment you think of something that's going to give you pleasure,
Right.
you close it down.
Right.
Because you feel ये तो खराब बात है. आज तक लोग करते हैं. भगवान क्या कहेंगे? I get people saying कि मैं दुर्गा माँ का बहुत भक्त हूँ. So is it bad if I masturbate to the thought of a woman? And
That
it's not
sentence is-
one. It's like many
Right,
of
right,
them who write in with this.
Right.
So when you start to allow yourself to have those pleasure channels, there are some things that give me pleasure. It's okay to not feel guilty. That pleasure marinates inside you. Those thoughts. And pleasure is not just about sex. It's about any kind of leisure.
Right.
It's about my senses. It's not about sex. It's about sense. If I like the idea of lying in a bathtub with some incense and some candles, and it just gives me that feeling of, I don't know, pure bliss. If that's what does it for me, my senses have all awakened. When I come out of that bath, my senses are awake. I think differently. I act. My voice changes. I am a different person when my senses are all awakened.
Right.
मैं कौन हूँ? मैं ये सीमा नहीं हूँ who's kind of tightly compressed into this social face that I'm putting out, whatever. I am a different person.
You think, is that an exclusively female?
No, I am saying this is how
People.
we should all be.
Oh, how we should.
Yeah,
all
yeah.
be.
And I'm just saying, मैं अपना example दे रही थी because I feel that I personally went through this journey and this change. And the day that it suddenly came to me that I'm okay. You know, when I talk about something that I like, I notice, and this is without realizing, my voice changes.
Agreed. That's so true.
I talk about pleasure and I can feel it from the inside. My voice has changed. And when I'm talking to you about something where I'm feeling it from the inside, you're hearing it differently.
Spot on. I
Yeah.
completely agree. Yeah.
So your seduction is who you are. That makes somebody else want to be with you. That makes people think, I want that. So it's about you developing yourself.
You know, I've said this on the internet before. I told guys, I was like, you think your obsession with video games is bad? Try talking about it passionately to a woman and see if she responds to it.
Yeah.
Because you'd be surprised how interested they are in Pokemon when you are interested in Pokemon. Well, sure, it's not a massive issue for it. It's trivial probably, but passion elicits passion. And when you speak from the core of your being, it hits their core of being. And that is probably a good start. You can then
Definitely.
find topics that are overlapping, but it's not about the topic. It's about how you feel towards a certain
Absolutely.
topic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Open yourself up to that. That is seduction.
Right. And I also see sense in seduction being a state of mind because, guys get very nervous right before they go in for the kiss. Like
Yeah.
I've been in situations, literally sat 3 hours on my ass with a girl. I know she likes me. It's 2 a.m. She's at my home. She's waiting, but I can't get myself to make the move. And so what I learned was tell yourself I'm going to kiss her in the head many times. And it automatically propels you in that sort of direction, right? You're able to do that a lot easier. And that's sort of a mini symptom of what you're talking about in terms of seduction being sort of a state of mind.
Yeah. And, just talking about this, I also understand कि, again, being the society that we are, हमने सारा pressure आदमियों पर डाल रखा है. किस करना है तो sorry, it's your job to do it. First step लेना है तो it's your job. क्योंकि the moment a woman does it, unfortunately, at that point it might be very exciting. Okay, she took this thing. बाद में, especially after a couple of dates, if things don't go well, it ends up with a lot of slut shaming.
Yeah.
Okay. And again, going back to my younger days, I realized a couple of guys that I went out with. Now, as women, we have the capacity for a lot of arousal. 8 times more than a man,
Mm-hmm.
apparently.
I've heard so.
Okay,
Yeah.
I've also heard so.
Right.
I believe so.
Right.
Also, because as women, our arousal lasts a lot longer.
Yep.
We'll come to that later. But, when you get aroused, I would want more. If somebody was kissing me, it wasn't enough. Like, okay, 5 minutes. I wanted 35 minutes. You know what I mean? Like, I wanted a lot. It would scare the hell out of most men.
To
Most
kiss
of the
for
guy-
35 minutes?
Not just to kiss, meaning that
But
this
like
woman
play.
is just, oh my God, she's so demanding. Oh, she wants too much. Acha, yaar, ye itna to chodo. And let's be real, a woman's needs are a lot higher than a man's. So it is very likely that where the man feels, acha, I'm now satisfied, the woman still isn't.
Is only beginning very often. Yeah, right.
So I discovered, again, I was very young. So, you don't have this knowledge, you don't have the understanding. What I realized is how many guys would back off from being with me because they felt she's too demanding when it comes to physical needs. And I'm not even talking about going to bed together. I'm just literally talking about, let's say, kissing or hugging or holding hands or just wanting that closeness. Wanted it for longer. The terms used were clingy, the terms used were needy, because it's so easy to label. I realized way back then that I cannot be who I am because that's going to scare the guy off. So you learn to pull back and you say, okay, I can't be who I am. I have to stop my own desires and my own sexuality and fit in with whatever the other person wants. We're taught as women that you don't matter. You have to fit in with the other person.
I completely agree that there is a sort of pressure on women, but it's also true for men because, like, frankly, what I want, I can't have it immediately either. There's always this slow play, this sort of dance where we slow reveal ourselves and hopefully eventually get to a point where I'm sitting in front of the woman I love honestly and really and nakedly. But you are spot on. Like, it's probably supposed to be a slow play. I think the dance is what is probably enjoyable.
The dance is very, very enjoyable. But what I was just literally saying is that, that for a lot of men who feel the pressure कि हमें ही सब कुछ करना पड़ रहा है.
Right.
A lot of guys also find it very nerve-wracking if the woman makes the first move.
Yeah.
A lot of them. ठीक है? चलता नहीं उनके लिए. And
समझ नहीं आता.
समझ नहीं आता. What the hell? What?
क्या
Who?
करना है? Hello बोला उसने? Hello का क्या मतलब है?
If a girl ever makes the move saying, I want to ask you out, वो पहले ही हाथ पैर पड़ जाते हैं. That, oh my God, she's so forward. So society is screwed with all genders.
Yeah.
And said कि pressure सब तुम्हारा है. तुम्हें pressure नहीं पसंद, कोई बात नहीं. तुम्हारा है. And said to the women, pressure तुम्हारा नहीं. अब तुम्हारा pressure है to control yourself and not like it. You don't like that? You want to do it? Don't care. Control it. So we've made everybody dysfunctional. And I totally understand कि लड़कों के लिए, especially younger boys as they're growing up, it is so difficult because where do you break that nervousness? Where do you make that first move? And the worst thing is that, like I said, forget about the fact that nobody talks about it. There are no role models. There's nowhere that you go and see, I don't know, a film or people talking about it or, I don't know, characters
Yeah.
who you look at. Everything you need a role model, right?
कोई नहीं बात करता. Nobody talks about the pain of a young man, particularly in the sexual realm, because one, it is taboo. Two, it might distract him, as if UPSC की तैयारी से ही वो कोई पहुंच जाएगा. And what ends up happening is that the man bottles it in so much, eventually he ends up in your DMs. He ends up in your DMs saying all these creepy, weird things, trying to, for the first time, voice thoughts that are isolated from society for so long. And generally what that leads to is a sort of, क्या बोलूँगा मैं, it's a channeling through pornography. And God knows where that ends up for men. Like erectile dysfunction, that ends up in dysfunctional relationship, that ends up in all these different things where the woman's troubled, the man is troubled. And I feel like genuinely अगर सिर्फ इतनी बात भी हो जाए ना, सुन लड़के ऐसे बात करते हैं, ऐसे शुरुआत करते हैं, ऐसे ख़त्म करते हैं, ये तुम्हारा एंड ऑब्जेक्टिव है, ये तुम्हारा मिडिल ऑब्जेक्टिव है, इस पे प्रेशर मत लेना, इसको डांस की तरह समझना, इसके साथ नाचना, फ्लो विद इट, रिजेक्शन इज फाइन. सिर्फ 8-9 तरीके की इतनी बात हो जाए एंड द पर्सन कैन स्टार्ट, जस्ट दैट.
Yeah.
That's all I care about. They can begin.
I think the best place to start, we have a wonderful tool today called WhatsApp. When you're not face to face, it's so much easier to write the messages.
Right.
Maybe begin your conversations with that.
Right.
You know, actually have the deeper conversations in your messages.
Right.
Put effort into thinking about it. Don't be random. And the other thing, which is really, really important, you cannot always have a clever or funny comeback.
Yeah.
Break that habit. A lot of young people have this habit कि अच्छा वो कह रही है या वो कह रहा है, I have to have a quick comeback. I have to have a witty comeback. एक दो हो जाए, that's fantastic. You cannot always
Right.
have it. And it's always not fun to have somebody giggling all the time. It's really annoying actually.
100%, like, you know, you signaled humor. Now signal normalcy. थोड़ा normal भी तो हो जा. ये बोलते अच्छा चल मिल लेते हैं. Now let's get, you know, whatever. I completely agree. And there is a dysfunction. I think Instagram's great, by the way. Instagram, I used to always say, is a dating passport. It helps
Okay.
you date. So, you know, you send a response in her stories and conversations begin from there, and all you need to do is maintain a good-looking Instagram. If you're too nervous, start there. No problem, you know.
I guess, yeah.
Yeah, probably it's a fairly new phenomena, and I don't know how much in touch you are with that at all.
I am on Instagram, but it's come into my life very late.
Yeah.
And it's not something I understand very well.
Yeah, right.
But I also want to just say, add to that and say I mean, like, it's great that you maintain a certain appearance, etc. The one thing I think that you shouldn't say is it's down to my hormones. Like, a lot of guys, we're still getting this a lot. I behaved like this because, well, you don't understand a man's hormones. I had somebody actually who should know better, with a huge following of young men, who claims to be an influencer, who recently said to me, I mean, like, made a reaction video to one of my reels, complaining कि ये पता नहीं क्या बात कर रही है क्योंकि हम आदमियों के hormones ऐसे होते हैं. Your hormones are your problem. They're not society's problems. उस पे आप मत डिपेंड कीजिएगा.
Right.
इधर से थोड़ा सा काम करना पड़ता है.
Fair. I completely understand, and I know the direction in which you're going, because फिर तो एंड्रू टेट के पास ही जाएंगे ना सब लड़के, क्योंकि ऑप्शन तो मिला ही नहीं कोई. देयर इज नो हेल्दी मैस्कुलिन फिगर आउट इन द पब्लिक दैट इज टॉकिंग अबाउट इट. देयर इज नो वर्जन ऑफ स्ट्रेंथ दैट इज सोबर एंड मैच्योर. देयर इज नो वर्जन ऑफ मैस्कुलिनिटी और मैचोइज्म दैट इज हेल्पफुल and sort of socially contributive. It's always parasitic. That's the one that sparks attention. But anyway, enough on the sort of courtship part. Tell me about performance, and tell me, is the word performance okay to think about sex? Or is it a difficult word to play with?
So I think, again, the word, a lot of times the word loses its meaning.
Yeah.
So, TK, they're saying performance. To me, the word has a basic problem because obviously you're not performing. Because jaise hi tumko perform, you feel you are under a spotlight. And you have to do certain things. So the first thing I always say to people is that if you're having sex for the first time, understand that it'll never be what you think it is going to be. Ever, 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 never, never, never. It's like saying कि मैं गाड़ी चलाने जा रहा हूँ और मैंने फास्ट और फ्यूरियस देख ली है, अब मुझे सब पता है, मैं गाड़ी अमेजिंगली चलाऊँगा. मैंने पॉर्न देख ली है, अब मैं सेक्स करने जा रहा हूँ, मैं ऐसे होगा. मैंने वो फिल्म देखी, उसमें ऐसे दो लोग आए and they just made love. Sex is a very complicated thing, and vaginas are very complicated to get into. Okay, I just
Spot on. We are telling truth today. Yes.
ये समझना ज़रूरी है. Physically speaking, the positioning of the, the male organ is such that it's very straightforward. It is in front of you. You can go straight forward. The vagina is placed in such a way biologically that it's not easy to get to. अच्छा, दूसरी बात, what a lot of men don't understand is that so you have to get your body into all sorts of positions.
Right.
You don't just glide together and it happens.
By accident नहीं होता.
नहीं होता.
हाँ.
नहीं होता. बहुत काम करना पड़ता.
Right.
दूसरी बात, the vagina is not a straight tube. So you can't just say, okay, now I've got you into position, I will merely. There is a bend in the vagina, which has to be negotiated. And it is very painful. No matter how many times you have sex, you have to make sure that the woman's body is placed, it's positioned in such a way that that bend can be gone past carefully. Because no matter how much you have sex, if that is not negotiated properly, it still leads to pain. It needs lubrication. Lube is very easily available. A lot of people don't use it for whatever reason. A lot of people actually have this as an ego thing. I am enough. You may be very much enough, but the female body is a different kettle of fish. So, wo apna karti hai, you know. So, keeping all this in mind, people believe that they are just going to be able to do it. And the first time sex ka pressure is huge. And I just want to say कि पहली बार जब आप sex करोगे, it will never be what you think it is going to be. So, do not try and make it a memorable experience. कि ऐसे होगा और फिर ये याद रखेंगे. Make it as pleasurable as possible. The penetration part of it, especially the first time, is going to be awkward. No matter how much you watched porn, it is going to be very awkward. Focus on other things. Women's bodies are incredible in the sense that every part of the woman's body is an erogenous zone. Just depends on what you do with it, how you treat it. And the great thing about women's bodies are that they can be brought, actually the Kama Sutra says कि penetration se pehle, you should bring a woman to orgasm at least twice before you even think of penetrating her.
That's insane.
Okay?
I would have never thought of that.
Because that warms her up. Now she's in the zone. She's in the mood. Even if it means that you have by now, it's your first time, you've lost your erection. It could happen.
Yeah.
It could be that you get it back. It could be that you don't. But honestly, that is what's going to make it a better night altogether.
Right.
Okay? Also, include, like a lot of people always say, what is, how long should you last? It's not how long you should last. Everybody is different and everybody likes their penetration or the thrusting to be different. So there's no thing about. But don't focus only कि how long I should last should be कि penetration कितनी देर की. आप अपना foreplay उसमें include कीजिए. That is how long you're lasting. You could do amazing things. And that's what your partner will remember. And that, I always say this, and I don't know why people don't take this on board. How you finish today will define कि next time how quickly she comes back to your bed.
Tell me more about that.
So how do you remember any event? Either by its peak or by the way it finishes.
Right.
Okay. Now the peak being the orgasm, couldn't, maybe, yes, whatever. How you finish your day of sex, what she remembers of that. Is she remembering all the groping? Is she remembering the pain? Is she remembering the fact that in spite of all that, you made sure that from other different parts of her body, you made sure that she was so pleasured. It was fantastic.
Right.
How you finish will define how quickly she comes back to you the next time.
Right.
Okay?
I follow.
Yeah?
Yeah.
A woman's body also is slightly different to a man's. Man has an orgasm, generally speaking, that is the end of his ability for a certain amount of time to have sex anymore.
Yeah, psychologically, physiologically, I'm in a different state.
With women, the more orgasms they have, the more their arousal goes up.
So for them, it's sort of the beginning or the middle point. For men, it's the end.
Yeah.
And it's a very different fact.
It's a very different way.
Right.
Yeah. So the bodies are just built differently. And I think that's, like a lot of people will feel, but how long should foreplay be? like I said, don't worry about how long. Bring her to orgasm. Bring her through kissing her on different parts of her body or trying different things. Lots of erogenous zones. Once you have done that, you've actually got her ready for your pleasure. क्योंकि आपका जो pleasure है वो long lasting तभी होगा and actually satisfying तभी होगा if she is a willing partner.
Right.
And if you can get her to that point where she wants to be a willing partner, you're away. But इसमें इतना ही है that it takes a bit of patience
Right.
and it takes a bit of self-control.
Yeah. Right.
Okay?
Right. You were saying, ek to yaar AC, can you cut the AC?
Yeah, it's
getting
furiously
very
cold.
So you were saying that there is all parts of a woman's body are erogenous, and I feel like there is such a stark difference between a man's experience of sex and a woman's experience of sex. Frankly, science fiction wise speaking, I would love to feel what a woman feels in that way because it sounds so uniquely different as a physical thing.
But can I tell you that men's bodies have an equal number of erogenous zones? You could potentially feel excited from any part of your body, but most men will only focus on their genitalia. उनको अगर आप try भी करो कि मैं इधर कुछ करती हूँ, most of them get a little impatient. They're like, no, ऐसे नहीं अच्छा, no, do this. It takes time. You know, women's bodies, again, we're saying, because with women, we like it to take longer. You would have to massage that area. You'd have to work on it. Aista karke. It builds up. It's not that quick. So again, one of the chapters from our ancient texts is, it says ki, as the moon moves in its phases, your erogenous zones move around your body, for men and women both. So on the full moon night, it is your head. The next day, it is your eyes. Then it is the cheeks. Then it is the neck, and so on. So there's a whole chart. So for women, I think it goes down the right side and up the left. And I think for men, it goes down the left side and up the right. I can't remember. The details are in the chapter. And so there are an equal number of erogenous zones for men as well. You're not lacking in them. You just have to explore them.
But I definitely cannot feel sexual pleasure from just massaging my right cheek.
That's because you're not just supposed to go there massaging.
Right. No, I know. I'm asking a stupid question.
No, that's okay. You're supposed to put effort in. Suppose you were doing that for your partner. Suppose I said to you, this is the third day of the moon.
Right.
Today, the Kama Sutra says that her cheek is going to be what you have to stimulate to bring her to pleasure. You would put effort into it.
Right.
You'd kiss her there. You'd massage her. You'd do other things, but then you'd come by.
Yeah, right.
उसी तरह करना पड़ता है. But when we think of men's bodies, men, when they think of men's bodies, they're a lot more, I don't know, almost functional about it. They're like,
point A to point B.
Yes, kar diya. You know, it doesn't really work like that. You have to, you know, sex is, like you said earlier, it's like a dance. It's like a game. It's like an emotion. It's a sensation. It's a feeling. We need to understand that it is all of those things. They're not just words.
Right.
So use that vocabulary.
Right.
And actually go for it.
Because sex can also often just be exercise for men. And I think that becomes the overlapping confusion कि वो हर जगह exercise वाली modality फिर डालते रहते हैं, right? And then because I would have never thought, honestly, I know most men like genitalia and all of that. Some men also like anal stimulation, right? That's also part. But that's where I would have probably the neck, right? Like neck comes third. Women have secondary sexual organs that are pleasurable very often. But the temple and the cheek as erogenous, as sensual, as like love and affection and intimacy building, I could have guessed. But as erogenous is such an interesting idea.
You know, when it comes to kissing, let's say, and this might be useful also.
I'm making notes. I'm making all these notes. You have no idea.
Most guys, when they go in for the kiss, they go, okay? You're straight in, tongue down the throat,
right?
And you're going for it. So the most exciting kisses are where there's almost no touch. Okay? So if you were to come really close and not kiss, but just breathe on the other person's lips.
The imagination is enough. Yep, no, you're spot on. Just coming close enough, but not quiet.
Yeah.
That's where
Let
it
them
builds.
feel your breath on any part of you. Like, just do that. If you're that nervous, ke, as a guy, get close enough. Let them feel your breath. That is so exciting. And the problem is that intimacy, excitement, arousal, attraction, seduction, तुम जो भी इस्तेमाल कर लो शब्द, the more exciting, to build up the anticipation, is the less the touch. To build up the anticipation. Okay, if you're kissing your partner, maybe just little tiny pecks on the lower lip. No tongue, no this thing, just tiny pecks. Or maybe just using your teeth to just tiny little pecks on the lower lip. That's it.
Right.
And come back.
Right.
Just far enough for them to feel your breath. That's it. You know, there is so much power in the no touch.
Mm-hmm.
That is so much more exciting than the
Oh, yeah.
the grope grab.
100%. Like, with flirting, I often tell men, flirting is talking about sex without saying the word sex. And what that does is, like, it just slowly builds that anticipation, that builds tension that probably will lead to where you're trying to get to. And I feel like maybe that is why 50 Shades of Grey is such a thing for women. Because there is all this build-up to the point, as opposed to pornography, which is everything past the build-up. Hammer, bum, 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 bum. Right. So kissing and sort of, let's say, playing between mouths, it's this anticipation, coming close and breathing on her neck and maybe like biting her lips and sort of playing around
Or
that.
even just twirling a bit of the hair around the finger. Just literally less touch.
What about oral sex, or for that matter, the intermezzo between oral and kissing? What am I supposed to do there?
Explain your question.
Like, once I start kissing and before I start penetration, which seems that what you seem to say is there should be a distance between those two things. The first point of imagination I have is there's oral sex in the middle. Maybe that is, I'm also too soon for that. Like, there's maybe a better sort of slower play for pleasure there. What else am I missing? What can I do in that build-up? What does the Kama Sutra say about it before I just jump into penetration, come in 3 minutes and I'm done and dusted with?
So I think one of the nicest things that you can do is actually kiss your partner's body in different parts of the body. And I think that always makes for a really interesting progression. क्योंकि हम लोग क्या करते हैं, there's almost like an agenda.
Right.
हम इधर से शुरू करेंगे, फोरप्ले शुरू किया, अच्छा अब किसिंग हुई, अच्छा अब इधर 2 बारी इधर टच किया, इधर 2 बारी स्क्वीज किया, now I'm back and we're done.
Yeah.
So, again, we have this whole idea that in times gone by, every part of the body would be fragranced with a different perfume. And I love this idea that here it was something earthy, here it was something more innocent on the neck. The belly button, because it's a small space, it would have something heavy, so you draw somebody down. My favorite was the curve of the waist. You try kissing your partner down the curve of the waist, all the way down. It is incredibly exciting for both people, because as you go down, your hands are free to touch each other, but you are actually being as intimate as you possibly can with some of the areas that are very, very sensitive for your partner's body. You have all of this at your
Disposal.
which you should explore. I mean, it's silly to miss out on that because there is an incredible amount of pleasure to be had. Even if you are just to lie next to that person and with your finger just draw circles on their tummy, around, very lightly, around the belly button, whatever it is, at that point, if you're accompanying that with kissing them, it's about the intention. If your touch is supposed to be intimate, if you're actually putting time into enjoying that, it's not an agenda. Acha, I'm going to do 5 circles around the tummy, then you know what I mean? You don't
Mathematical
do that.
formalization. Yeah.
Acha, 5 bari kar liya, ab aage chalo. It is literally about what you say, I am just having so much fun doing this.
Right.
I think it's so important. The next thing is about, of course, oral sex. Not every woman is comfortable having somebody go down on her. It's actually quite nerve-wracking. So if you want to go down on your partner, she's not nervous about it. My advice is, again, don't start by having oral sex where you're kissing her internally. Start by kissing the area around the vulva, on the upper thighs, on the hips, on the lower stomach, just between the legs. Feel it, just smell it down there, whatever. It is so important to, like I said, approach it slightly more slowly. It's like as you get older, I've discovered, I love chocolate. When I was younger, I used to have 5-star.
Yeah.
Which was
Standard,
my favorite,
right.
right? Then you got to Kit Kat. Today, I only will have really, really high quality dark chocolate. It's got to be very dark, very rich, and very high quality. And 90%, 95%. I love it. And I have learned that I have to eat it at room temperature. And I will put it into my mouth, and then I will let it melt in my mouth, and I will swirl it around. So I will only have this little tiny bit, whereas when I was younger, I would have had a huge big fudge cake.
Right.
You learn to enjoy it. We call this sexual maturity. When you learn to enjoy what you are doing. And that means slowing it down and marinating it. It doesn't mean that eventually the way that you have sex, or every time you have to do this, wo nahi main keh rahi hu. I'm just saying that if you can learn how to understand how to build up pleasure, it increases your own pleasure as well. So, for oral sex, if your partner's not ready for it, and you are finally ready and you want to go down on her, one of the things is that give her something to cover herself with, like a fuzzy or something slightly heavier. It makes it a bit more comfortable for her. I don't know why, but makes it more comfortable for women. Let her have something to hold on to. That helps. It's an incredible tool to use. But jo bhi hai, there are, like I said, the excitement is so much more than the genitalia.
Right.
Again, 2,000 years ago, people were taught how to have sex. Today, also, we really need to be taught. Most people go to porn. So in those days, women were taught how to do a particular position by how pieces of jewelry, different pieces of jewelry moved on their body. And I'll explain it to you. So my favorite example is always, because this is the first example I ever came across. So if the woman was going to be on top, now if you watch this in porn, when the woman is on top, you see her bounce, 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 bounce. We have approximately 22 to 24 G-spots inside the vagina. When you bounce, 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 you miss every single one of them. There is no excitement for the woman, but it is very good for the camera, which is why they show it on porn. So in times gone by, the woman was made to wear a girdle, mekhla, with lots of ghungroos. And then you had to make sure that you don't let the ghungroos make a sound. Now you automatically learn कि कैसे move करना चाहिए. You're not now focusing कि how am I moving for my penetration. Your whole focus is कि
घुंघरू
नहीं बजे. And that grinding movement, and
Right.
that slightly round and round, is the right movement for mutual pleasure for both. At the same time, she would wear long earrings, which was supposed to get to swing in an arc. Once you got to that point, when you get your head and your body to that point, it meant that you got the pace right.
Very interesting.
Okay? How were men taught? They were taught through understanding battle formations. because they said that this would make more sense to a man. And they said that a guy who is really, really good in bed will be a better warrior. Because they said that your body is limited. There's only so much you can do with the body. But if you can go to that bed every night and do something slightly different to bring an element of surprise, that is a skill that you bring to the battlefield, where you're going into the battlefield, in those days, bow and arrow, sword, whatever. Your enemy knows exactly what you're going to do. But if you can bring one tiny little change that brings the element of surprise, gives you
That's
the
a strategic edge.
Yeah. So they put a lot of thought into lovemaking, because lovemaking, sex, intimacy, जो भी आप नाम दे दो इसको, is extremely important. It is so important for you. It is so important for your life, for your well-being, for your health, for the health of your relationship. It is so important.
Is there something about fetishes in the Kama Sutra?
So the Kama Sutra is actually a very sensible book. It's actually, it doesn't have very much on fetishes. It mentions them a little bit, but what most people don't realize is कि Kama Sutra एक किताब नहीं है. वो 4th century में लिखी थी. वात्स्यायन कहते हैं कि उन्होंने अपना सारा मटेरियल और किताबों से लिया है which were written 1,000 years before. So 1,000 years before, 2,000 years afterwards, बहुत किताबें लिखी हैं. So there are other books on fetishes and on very strange sex toys and things. Kama Sutra itself as a text doesn't talk about it. But fetishes were obviously there at that time.
Because I feel like एक और जो unaerated sort of फंसा हुआ part of the male sexuality is their desire for fetishes that never quite comes out. And I know this because when I used to do a lot of self-help content in my early days of content, I'd get DMs about it. And it would range from very normal fetishes to very strange fetishes, like things that would freak me out. Like I was like, what? And because men find shame associated to it, they never really voice it. Probably less so with their partners. And God knows where that goes. So how must one think about the range of fetishes?
So the fetish, again, is literally instinctive. It's not something you develop. It's something inside you, you're born with it. There's something that will turn you on, whether you want it to turn you on or not.
So it's a deterministic thing, huh?
It is. It's just there inside you. Some things you can develop over time, but jo intrinsic fetish hoti hai, which really just you want to try something, that comes from within. Right. Now, unfortunately, isme the confusion is, kyunki again, we talk a lot about BDSM now. अब बहुत जनता है बाहर जो कहती है जी जो मन में आए हमें तो BDSM पसंद है, चाहे और किसी को पता हो ना हो कि तुम कह क्या रहे हो. एंड देयर आइडिया ऑफ BDSM इज कि दूसरे को मार मार के लाल कर दिया है. अरे हमें तो ये हमारी फेटिश है. ये हमारी फेटिश नहीं है. पहली बात तो आई वांट टू एक्सप्लेन कि BDSM कह लो, फेटिश कह लो, जो भी, it is a form of pleasure, not a form of sex. Okay? That means कि आप दोनों को इससे pleasure मिलना चाहिए. Where it involves pain, it's not supposed to be about pain. It is still supposed to be about pleasure.
Through pain.
Through whatever sensation.
Right.
So for instance, I attended 3 separate courses on BDSM to actually learn and understand a little bit more, because my own exposure to it is not very much.
Right.
And the first one I attended was very interesting, where it was spanking, basic. So you're given these, they're made of like a thick, so they're like ping pong bats, but made of rubber. And so you attend it as a single person. Because lots of people sign up for it. So you don't know who you're being partnered with. Mostly women, occasionally men. Yeah. So you get partnered with somebody who is a total stranger to you, which was anyway kind of weird. So this other woman and I are now supposed to practice this on each other. So the first thing they say is spanking. So you're supposed to hit each other on the bottom with that.
Yep.
But you don't just do that. So before you do that, you give the other person a hug and you say, now I'm going to do this. Is this okay for you? And they have to agree. Then you rub it hard. So like I was saying, to create anticipation, you touch the other person very, very lightly, and that sort of raises your senses.
Right.
When you're going to be hard, you rub that area, so you desensitize it a little bit. So the idea is not ke,
उठाते ही मार देना है. हाँ.
so you rub that area hard till you desensitize it a little bit. Then you say, I'm going to whack, you whack, and then you immediately rub it better. You don't leave it there to sting and hurt. Then you hug. You have to make them feel like they're being protected.
Damn.
Huh. It's not as straightforward as thappad laga wala. It isn't. It's a huge amount. So there are couples who practice BDSM regularly who have an incredible amount of love. There's no violence over there.
Yeah.
And so, there's people who have this thing about the rape fantasy, for
Right.
instance. It's not the rape fantasy. It's called consensual non-consent. So rape fantasy is not ke bahar jaake bolo bhai aap aake je yahan, violate
Right.
me. It is between two people who have a hugely trusting bond
Right.
between each other. They know that there will be no harm to either of them. And the rules are laid down कि अच्छा तुम इतना कर सकते हो, इतना नहीं कर सकते, मुझे ये नहीं पसंद. And at each level, you have to stop to make sure that you're okay.
Right.
And as you build it up, yes, there are people in the BDSM community who are very, very masochistic, who enjoy the pain, but it is that pain that they like. It's not any
All
pain
Yeah, right.
that you would want to put on them. Somebody may hate being hit on the arm, but love it on the thigh.
Right.
So it's very, very
Specific and
Specific.
communicated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's very much about making sure that they're okay. Not, like I said, each
Not
thing has
violating them.
Not violating.
Yeah.
So it's very important that you do that. The last one that I did was where they talk about wax. So this is where you're blindfold. Then again, somebody will, and there's a special kind of wax that won't burn you. And they will rub your back. So you face the wall, you're not facing the person. You don't see what's happening. So the anticipation is there because you don't know when that. And then the wax is trickled down your back, little tiny bit at a time. So it's the tiniest amount of sensation. And the sensation of that tiny little thing is so intense. You don't need a huge amount of somebody jumping up and down, lanka nahi jala rahe idhar. You just need the tiniest sensation because the eventual aim is pleasure. And for the person who's doing it, their idea of pleasure has also got to be met. So it's not just, because if I'm the one feeling the sensation, what is it in, what's in it for you? How?
Right.
So it has to be done in such a way that it is pleasurable for both. It is not about pain, it's about pleasure. I think this is where people kind of miss out. Now, when it comes to fetish, what I would like to say is that, yes, there are people who genuinely have.
No.
There are people who genuinely have different types of fetishes, and maybe your partner doesn't. And you want to communicate this. What do you do? So let's say simple fetish, somebody where you would gag them.
Right.
Okay, and maybe tie them up. So maybe that's this thing. Now, suppose your partner has never tried being gagged. It's scary.
Yeah.
It's very scary. And in spite of, safe word and all the rest of it, if I don't know what it feels like to be gagged, I am going to be terribly, terribly nervous, which means that I am going to, as the woman, let's say that the guy is the one who wants to do the gagging,
Right.
and the woman is being gagged. As the woman, I am going to dry up.
Right, because you're nervous, because you're scared. Yes.
So frightened.
Right.
If it is the man in that position, he's not going to get an erection.
Right.
It is going to fall. He's frightened.
Yeah.
So use something different. Use an apple. Okay, just say, I'd like to try this. Use an apple inside your mouth. That becomes like a gag. But it's easier because you're not actually tied to it.
Right.
It's in your control.
It's not industrial level gagging. It's domestic level gagging.
It's domestic level gagging. It's beginner gagging.
Right.
Okay. So try that, where you've put them in that situation where they're getting the experience of the gag without the binding of the gag. Tell them, I'd love to try it with an apple. And it's nice because that apple, they can remove it, they can chew on it, jo bhi, it becomes part of the play. But yeah, everybody's not into fetishes. It's great to share your fetish, but if your partner's not into it, you can't coerce them. That is going to lead to bad sex.
Right.
It's going to lead to very bad sex.
Right.
You need to come to that understanding.
I was once in Miami for a conference, and I ended up meeting a person I made friends with, and I found out she was a dominatrix. She was a professional dominatrix for very powerful men who wanted to feel some degree of surrender or helplessness or like subordination in specific situations. And my first like theoretical exposure to BDSM was like through talking to her about how they like it and how many rules there are and like what happens and so on. And I found out about all these clubs that exist in New York. And it's a very like eclectic, very detailed system. It's not like punch her against the wall and punch him in the balls. Like it's more thorough than that. There is a lot of people who have fantasies for threesomes and sort of a multiple partner situation and so on. What is your view? What is your academic research? Like, how must one think about that kind of stuff?
Okay, so start with the DOMs.
Yeah, sure. Dom, yeah.
So one thing I find really interesting, and I hadn't thought about this for a long time. It's come to me recently. Somebody wrote a question about the fact that when you are on top or when you're underneath, how you have sex changes. Yeah? I mean, think of yourself, either on top or below. How you are now in that position, how you're doing that position changes. And with that, changes how you feel. Your
Right.
pleasure changes, but also your emotions and how you approach it. And somebody pointed this out, that we never ever talk about the change in emotions that you have to go through to feel this and feel that. And I think that it is really important to understand that this idea of being a dom or a sub is not as straightforward, again, as just a fetish, as somebody who wants to feel surrender, who wants, there are certain intrinsic emotions that you enjoy during lovemaking. And I think that, the idea of having a dominatrix is a very popular one. It's an old one. Being whipped, particularly by somebody, it's known as the English vice, actually. It's very popular in England. It's been done for centuries. Nothing new about it. I just think that those are the people who chose to do it because they wanted it. My problem comes with people who get stuck with having to do it. So that's one huge issue. But like I said, more important to that is that for everybody who is indulging in it, I want you to understand that, okay, there is shame out there and stigma out there that society has put on you. Just remember that this is more about you exploring those emotions. Even for somebody basic, like I said, even a long-term couple who change positions every now and then, who'll be on top or underneath. I want you to notice how it does change how you feel and how you act. And even the Kama Sutra, when it describes the same position with the woman on top, it says she is now taking on the role of a man. So the position actually says that she has to now take on the role of a man. And it then describes how she has to change how she will talk to him, how she will be with him, how she will command him. So it's more than just a physical act. I keep saying this. This is where we started from, that sex, intimacy, pleasure is far more than just what your body can do. It's all up here, what your head does, what your mind does. And because we refuse to accept the emotions that go with something, we screw ourselves up because we're like, okay, little things filter into your head about your feelings, and then you're trying to shut them down because you're like, nahi, ye theek nahi ho sakta. These are all very, very natural emotions. So that's the first thing. When it comes to, sorry, what was your second?
My second question was multi-partner fantasies, threesomes, and sort of all of open relationship and all of that. Where are you on that, and how must one think about that part?
So I think that the idea of a threesome or a multi-partner fantasy is probably the most common one of all. Unfortunately, it's become even more common from watching porn, because this idea of watching, putting no effort into doing something for the arousal, watching, getting aroused, and then just getting the ejaculation or the pleasure from it, it's become a habit. And a lot of people who think, oh, अच्छा ये देख के तो मज़ा आ रहा है, अब इसको रियल में ट्राई करते हैं. Most people have no idea what the consequences of that are going to be. And I say this, I'm not being judgmental. I'm telling you this because seriously, there are consequences that people don't even understand can happen to them.
For instance?
For instance, okay, your partner might decide that they like somebody else in that threesome. Very, very common.
Right.
Let's say woman, man, another man comes in. She decides she likes the other guy.
Relationship destroyed.
Okay. I just got a message from somebody saying that we tried a threesome because my husband insisted. He has started liking the other guy. And now he wants to be a sub. And he doesn't want to have sex with her anymore.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. You have a lot of confusion that can occur because as a guy, we've had this also from guys saying, I watched my wife do this. It was very exciting, but now I can't get it out of my head and I can't take it and it's driving me mad. I've had women say to me, I gave in to my husband. I did it. Yes, it was enjoyable. I didn't want to do it, but I did it. But because he saw me enjoying it, now he wants to do it with another woman. I don't want it, but I don't know how to say no. My life is falling apart. Okay, aside from all that, there is all of the idea of the STDs that you're introducing into the factor. If there are children involved in the relationship, at some point you have to understand that there is going to be some impact over there.
Right.
Because at least initially there is that excitement. Then when you say, अच्छा ये नहीं करेंगे क्योंकि इससे हमारी जिंदगी खराब हो रही है, you come away. Your sex life then after a little while for everybody starts to go into a plateau. थोड़ी सी बोरिंग हो जाती है.
Right.
उसको स्पाइस अप करने के लिए फिर वही सोच आ जाती है कि अरे उससे तो बहुत अच्छी हो रही थी, फिर से ट्राई करते हैं. You fall into a rut and it can be so problematic. So it might sound really exciting, but you both have to be so super careful.
Right.
कि ये तुम कर सकते हो.
Right.
I mean, so many of the people who comment on my page have this fetish about the threesome, but also have this fetish about the virgin. They want this virgin to come in, this untouched woman. फिर वो virgin लाकर फिर तुम कह रहे हो, just this, the way that their brains work. Are you actually sexually mature enough? And by sexual maturity, I mean, do you understand the emotions that go with it? To be able to do something like this and survive it. Now, this one young guy wrote to me saying that he's with this girl and she's had a couple of relationships before, and that's fine. He knew about it. She told him and he said it was absolutely okay. They were fine. Unfortunately, she's now going through a phase of not wanting to have sex. Like she's just gone off it. And he says now her past has started to bother me because unke saath to kar rahi thi. Why has she gone off sex with me? And he's having the most hellish time trying to deal with it. It just, sex is complex.
Right.
And it comes with emotions, and emotions are complex.
So there is, from what I'm understanding, you're saying there is some sanctity to monogamy then.
I personally believe, I know that people like to say, well, human beings weren't made to be monogamous.
Right.
I think human beings crave monogamy. I think human beings are attracted to other human beings all through their life. I think that's the non-monogamous part of it,
Right.
is that no matter who you're with, no matter how much you love your partner, through your life, you are always going to be attracted to somebody else. Hoga hi hoga. But you don't have to always do anything about it.
Control
because,
is a virtue. Yeah.
you know,
Right.
you have to learn. You have to learn that you're going to be attracted to a million other people.
Right.
Big deal. You might think, okay, well, I'm attracted to that person. Monogamy is not natural. I will do something. Put yourself in the same situation. If your partner is doing it, how are you going to feel? And then take that step. Because when you get into a marriage, it comes with a contract. And this contract presupposes monogamy. We've said, "Okay, acha, I will be with you, you will be with me." If you want to break that contract and say, "Ab to main aur kisi ke saath karunga ya karungi," you have to understand that your partner then has the right to do the same.
Right.
And all this has to be taken into account very carefully.
Right. What is natural is not necessarily right. Violence is natural. It's not necessarily what you want. And so even if we're not programmed to be monogamous, I think there is some virtue to what society programs us to be. And monogamy is probably one of those things. And I think there is a certain virtue to it. I'm too young. I haven't lived my monogamous life to the full extent to know. But I still think we cannot just discard things that are socially engineered, probably because civilization evolved in a certain way for a reason. Having said that, and I know I've taken a lot of your time, I have just two more questions and then I'll let you be. My first question, in fact, they're both related. And one of them is, in fact, something we referenced very early on about how there is a sort of plateau that long-term relationships hit when it comes to sexual excitement. And my curiosity, the second part of that question is my curiosity, if that is indeed what leads to cheating and adultery. So my question is two parts. One is, does that happen? Is there a plateau? How do I avoid that plateau? What does the Kama Sutra or your research says about it? And then on the other hand, what about cheating and how must one think about cheating?
Okay. So let's tackle the first one.
Yes.
Every relationship, no matter whether it's with a partner, like an intimate partner, whatever, every relationship reaches a point where you're a bit bored, whether it's your best friend, whatever. It's going to hit a plateau.
Right.
Definitely intimate relationships all hit a plateau. Hota hai. It's different things, you know, you might be going through a certain problem with life, you could be going through hormonal issues, whatever. 100 different things. Also, you learn each other's bodies and the way the body moves, then it becomes a bit boring, you zone out, it's repetitive, all of that. You know, when I was saying earlier about the different perfumes in different parts of the body, that was one of the things. Like, if you get used to kissing your partner through their entire body, and it's fantastic. You start from here and you go down, down, down. After a little while, it becomes a habit. Then you start to zone out. You got to the waist and now you're thinking about that email, you're thinking about that deal, and so on. When you got to a different perfume, it would bring you back to the present. It was a great tool because it brought you back to that person. But yes, all sexual relationships hit a plateau. I found most partners will talk about their sexual preferences to their friends, but not to each other. Somehow they don't discuss what makes good sex for them with each other.
Right.
Achha, first thing I want to say is that when one partner goes off sex, one partner wants it, the other partner does not want it. The way to get them back is not by saying, have sex with me.
I deserve it.
I deserve it.
This is my right. Yeah, right.
You cannot fix the not having sex by having sex. They might do it once or twice and then it'll be like back to the same.
And it'll be worse maybe. Yeah.
There's a reason why they've gone off sex. So the example I always use is that if you walk into your house and it's filled with smoke, what will you do? Will you start trying to get rid of the smoke, or will you first go and figure out कि धुआं कहाँ से आ रहा है? वो धुआं की source बंद करो और फिर धुआं निकालो.
Right.
So it's the same thing. If you say my partner's not having sex, you have to figure out क्या हुआ,
The source problem.
rather than saying have sex, because it'll happen twice and then it'll go. So it could be a number of different things. And I think the way to fix lack of intimacy is by actually taking sex off the table altogether, where you have to say to your partner physically, okay, no sex, I promise. But could we cuddle? Could we go out on a hike together? Could build the relationship back up again. You have to bring that feeling back. It could be so many reasons. It could be it could be one partner has a way of talking to the other partner, which over a period of time, just you get fed up.
Right.
It could just be that one partner's body has become tired from different reasons. We're not all very physically active. I mean, we're pretty bad with that. कई कुछ हो सकते हैं reasons. और सबके लिए वो sex एक ही तरह से, it's not like, okay, one of the other examples I always give is, I went through this plateau in my marriage. I mean, I've been married almost 40 years. It's bound to happen. And my husband's reaction, my husband is half Sindhi, half Punjabi. He's 72 now. He's much older than me. Typical man of that era. Okay. Like he has a certain way of thinking. Like, what is this? Like I'm just not feeling aroused enough. And his reaction was like, don't be so silly.
What are you saying? Don't be so silly.
Don't be so silly.
Right, yes.
And then when I kind of insisted, he'd be like, no, this is just a physical thing. It's just a physical function.
Right.
And it took me a long time to understand that, no, what I'm feeling is, because initially you're guilted. Women are brought up in a certain way to think that, there's something wrong with us because we don't want it. And he would say to me, his favorite line was, it's a physical function. It's like going to the toilet. So eventually I learned to say to him, if you want to go to the toilet, you go to the toilet. For me, this is not about going to the toilet. I need more. But it took time to understand that, certain maturity that comes with time. You have to learn to understand what it is that is stopping your partner. What is making them not want to have sex with you? So a couple of exercises that I would like to leave your listeners with, which will help. One is that instead of having sex, give yourself time, at least 3 times a week, to just lie next to each other, naked, and chat about anything, not intimate stuff, work. Chat about the deal that didn't happen and the email that didn't get sent. Chat about your problems at work or with the friend or whatever.
Right.
But do it lying next to each other, skin to skin. It's an incredible bonding experience. It's just that feeling of feeling comfortable and happy with each other's bodies again. That's it.
Right.
Okay. The second thing, when you get to a point of saying, okay, let's schedule sex. I know a lot of people don't like the idea of scheduling sex. This thing, when you're dating, you schedule it, right?
Yeah.
You say, I'm going to pick you up on such and such day, and then you make the effort.
And
then you get,
yeah, right.
Then you get married and you're living together and you're like, theek hai, makeup utar diya, purani nighty pehen li. There's no shringhar.
Right.
You're not putting that effort in. When you schedule it in such a way that you have, so phones out of the room, number one. You give yourself an exercise. So you say to your partner, what I want to do to you. And for 15 minutes on a timer, you do that to your partner. Your partner says 15 minutes, this is what, and there's no judgment. It's not like, well, this isn't exciting enough. Maine to socha tum aur karoge, ya, 15 minutes of what I want to do to you, 15 minutes of what you want to do to me. Then 15 minutes of what I want you to do to me, and 15 minutes. And it is 15 minutes, not more than that, with a timer. And you have to do what the other person has said. Don't do this often. Do it once a month, whenever you feel it. But build that up. But lying next to each other, just to have that time with each other, is really, really special. And finally, really important, like I was saying, it's what you remember of something. When you finish having sex, or whatever it is that was really enjoyable for you, but if you finish having sex and you actually lie down together and chat at that point, actually make the effort to do it. I find a lot of partners find such comfort in doing that they will go through the early bit just to get to this part.
Right.
So build up the bit that really both of you enjoy or the other partner really enjoys so that they will do this bit to get to the next bit.
Right. So stack them together, basically.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I would have asked you about cheating, but I think we're leaving it at such a wholesome note. We can do cheating the next time we talk.
Okay. Good idea.
Thank you so much for your time.
Not at all. My pleasure.
Okay, that's a wrap.